everyone, it's me. It's been a while since I have come on live, and I have some stuff that I want to tell you about, and I'm super excited to share with you. I have a new podcast that's coming out called Who Can It Be Now? And I know you're probably like, oh, a podcast, or you might be like, oh, yay, a podcast, or you might be like, well, there's a lot of podcasts out there. What's your podcast going to be about? Well, my podcast is going to be about all the crazy shit that happened to me when I opened up to my mediumship abilities and all the crazy stuff that still happens to this day. And I'm also going to be teaching you and giving you tools and techniques through my storytelling. It's not going to be boring. It's not going to be lectury. It's going to be like, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you a story about when the hand came out of the wall, or when the dead person was behind the bar, or the person appeared to me in Baja Fresh. I'm going to tell you all these really, really, really fun stories. And in those stories, I'm going to weave in some incredible teaching tools. So if you want to know about my podcast when it launches, put the word podcast down below, and you're going to get my trailer that tells you all about it. So it's really, really fun. So I do hope that you guys, so you have to put podcast in because you're all going to have to subscribe. Do me a favor and subscribe and tell me about it. And I'm really excited to be doing this right now. Hello, Stacy. Hello, Lily. It's going to be easy to get it. We'll tell you how to subscribe. You're all going to be like pushed to my website. And on my website, we'll tell you how to subscribe to it, or you can listen to it right from my website. And the beautiful thing about podcasts is you can download it. And I walk in the forest where there's no cell service, and I listen to podcasts all the time, and they're so much fun. But I'm really glad I'm doing it now, and I'm going to tell you why. I have noticed, when I first started as a medium, it wasn't something I wanted to do. It kind of happened to me, and it was really, really unnerving, and I didn't like it. It was really friggin' scary. Like, there were ghosts in my house constantly. They were shaking my bed. They were hiding things. They were just doing all this stuff. And I was really scared. I wasn't one of those people who was like, oh, this is cool. I was like, get the fuck out of my house. And when I learned how to use it, it became a really incredible experience for me, because I basically came home to myself and I learned who I was. And in the beginning, when I was doing readings, thank you, Paula. When I was doing readings, I would speak to deceased loved ones very easily. My readings were off the charts. They were names and exact information. But the thing that I do is I tell a lot of information that you don't know. You don't know. So I'm going to teach you the difference between a psychic and a medium. So I just kind of fell into it, and it happened, and it was amazing. And then I started studying. I was studying a little bit with the right people, and then I started studying more. And the more I studied, the more I got in front of these mediums that were very, very antiquated in their views. And they felt like not everybody was gifted. I don't believe that. I believe we're all gifted. They felt that if you weren't like, mediums have to sit in a room. They sit in a dark room in a circle, and they invite spirits in, and you practice. And they felt like if you didn't do that for 5 years and practice, you couldn't be a medium. It was all this like formulaic bullshit, in my opinion. And I found that there was a lot of competition in those rooms too. I was like shocked. Like, I'd be sitting here and you'd think you'd be around a bunch of spiritual people, but people were competing with each other. And I'm like, what the F is going on here? Like, once I was in this room, and these are the stories I'm going to share, but I'm going to teach you through them. Hopefully you'll be entertained and you'll laugh and you'll be scared and you'll be excited. And I'm going to take you on my journey. And we're also going to have interviews and things like that. But one room I was in, I was studying with this medium who I actually like, but I'm not going to say her name. And I went up to the front of the room, and I can read spirits right away. So she had a pendulum out, and I was showing her where the spirit was moving, because I knew exactly where it was moving. I could feel it. And she'd go over with the pendulum, and the pendulum would go nuts because the spirit was there. So I would just be like, went over there now, went over there. So my accuracy was completely right on. And after I was done, I went into the bathroom, and this woman came up to me who was also there taking the class. And she was like, nice boots. They're really big. I swear. She started talking about my boots and how they were big and clunky. And I was like, what? Like, she couldn't compliment me. She couldn't say, hey, that was really great work. I really enjoyed it. She was like, yeah, nice boots. What the fuck is that? So I was like, oh my God, the people in this room, they are just so competitive with each other. There is no need to be competitive. We're all gifted. We're all our own beings. We all deliver messages our own way. So those are the stories I want to tell you. So I want to tell you one other thing. I want to tell you some stuff. So if you want to learn about my podcast and when it's coming out, it's called Who Can It Be Now? I want to tell you how that name came about. But before I tell you that story, so I was in this room. I was studying for a weekend with these people. And this teacher was very good. But again, I only share teachers' names when I feel like I'll think about sharing her. Maybe I'll have her on. She's a very good medium. And we were in there studying, and it was really incredible. And it was this girl's birthday. This isn't one of those great stories, so I'm not going to tell this story. You'll have to wait. I like doing that to people. So anyway, on my okay, we all sang happy birthday to this one girl, and we actually heard angels. We heard angels. It was really cool. Anyway, so I want to tell you about Who Can It Be Now and where that title came from. How many people know the song Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work? How many people know that song? Come on. No yeses? No. Look, I just did a Q&A in Soul Finder Academy where I was channeling information and found out, unfortunately, that I wasn't live for like an hour. But apparently, Stacy, you guys are having a great time in there communicating with each other because I went back and read the post. So does anybody know the song Who Can It Be Now? I love that song. Okay, so if you read the lyrics of that song, it's a Men at Work song. If you read the lyrics of that song, that is like everything that happened to me as a medium, okay? Everything. I'm going to have to pull up these lyrics. So when I wanted to do a podcast for the longest time, and I couldn't find a title. Could not find a title. And my team and I would be working on different titles and different things, and we couldn't find one. And then I was watching Hallmark. Yes, I watch Hallmark. And I was watching I was watching Murder 101. Murder 101. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's the Who Can It Be Now song. And it was an acoustic version, actually by the lead singer of Who Can It Be Now, of Men at Work. I didn't realize it was him. I thought it was a thing. It doesn't matter. So it's Who Can It Be knocking at my door. Go away. Don't come around here no more. Can't you see that it's late at night? I'm very tired and I'm not feeling right. All I wish is to be alone. Stay away. Don't you invade my home. Best off if you hang outside. Don't come in. I'll only run and hide. That was my friggin' life when I opened up as a medium. They were locking me in rooms. They were knocking on the door. They were coming around when I didn't want them to come around. It was always late at night when I was by myself. I wanted to be left alone. They wouldn't leave me alone. They would shake my bed. They would turn on electronics. They would take my keys. They would hide things. It was horrible. So then the song goes on, Who Could It Be Now? And who could it be knocking at my door? Make no sound, tiptoe across the floor. If he hears, he'll knock all day. So I was like hiding. I'd hide. Like I'd be like, oh my God, I'd be afraid to go to sleep. I'd stay up all night. I'll be trapped in here. I'll have to stay. I've done no harm. I keep to myself. There's nothing wrong with my state of mental health. So I was in a lot of therapy too at this time. And I knew I wasn't schizophrenic or bipolar because I would have been diagnosed with those things. So I knew something was going on that was a little crazy. I like it here at my childhood friends. Here they come, those feelings again. So if you look at the lyrics and you read the song, I'm not going to go through the rest of them. That is basically what happened to me. And it was friggin' insane. Friggin' insane. So I really do hope that you come and enjoy. So I want to tell you one other story. So if you write podcasts, we're going to let you know when it comes out. It's going to come out in a couple of days, right near Halloween. Woohoo, Halloween. And I really hope you like it. I really do. So you guys saw my question that I put up. I said, but I do want to tell you something. I keep wanting to tell you something. I'm so tired. They turned off my power yesterday and I just did a 2-hour reading and an hour of it wasn't recorded. And I'm very upset. So it's very vulnerable to put yourself out there and put your stories out there. And these are my personal stories. I'm going to share my personal stories with you. These are stories I stopped telling because in the very early stages, for about 10 years, I was pitched around Hollywood for my own TV show. No lie, no exaggeration. And I always had to tell these stories when I went to the room because they were really funny and they were outrageous and they were crazy, and like to the dead people at the end of my bed, blood dripping down their face, locking me in rooms, all that kind of crap. And these are the stories I'm going to share on the podcast with lessons. I'm going to teach you through it. And with a fun way through the story. And I got tired of telling the stories. So it's not even on my website. Nobody knows these stories. Like maybe Megan knows, because Megan's known me for so many years. You know, some people may know me for many years when I first started out. But a lot of people don't know these stories. And they're really, really good stories. And they're fun stories. But the thing that I love about the stories, I'll talk about 9/11 and what happened to me there, and the bee that landed on my neck, and what bees mean, and what the number 7 means. And there's different things. I'm going to talk about clairaudience and claircognizance and clairvoyance. So I just want you to learn through being entertained. I really hope you take me in your back pocket through your life and listen. And I hope you share, and I hope you subscribe and all that stuff. But here's the thing that's getting me most of all. Here's my soapbox. And I hope I didn't ask the student in membership. But so I am really tired of the mediums out there that tell you you're only a medium. You notice how my hands are crossed? Because I'm ready to kick ass. I'm really ready to kill people. Well, not really. Because then they'd haunt me. And they can haunt me, and I don't want to be haunted. So I'm tired of being haunted. Anyway, so there are mediums out there that believe you're only a medium when you're talking to a deceased person. If you're doing a reading for someone and you're telling them about their life, they don't believe that that's mediumship. They call it psychic readings. It is not psychic readings. If you are channeling information from your guides, from another source. Mediumship to me is when you are the channel between whether it's a deceased loved one or a guide or a source of energy that you know, and it's coming through you to the person, and you're reading them and you're giving them information. When deceased loved ones would come through to me, they wouldn't tell me, they would tell me some clarifying facts so that you knew that they were in the room. And then they would give you information that you wouldn't possibly know. And then they'd give you information about your life because you're still living. They don't care. They're okay. They're not like, they may say, I'm sorry, so that you heal and you move on, because they're fine. They're okay where they're at. So my deceased loved ones would come through. They would give me very specific information, some of which you couldn't confirm, because I'm a future reader. I'm a reader that they really want you to believe it. And you're going to believe it when you go out there and you get the information later on. You're going to be like, holy shit, how the heck did she know that? And then you're going to change your life. But most importantly, they were here to help you move forward. So that to me is mediumship. If I'm telling you everything you already know, that to me is not a medium. That's a psychic. They're just reading you, your energy. You're wearing what color car you drive. You're wearing what your boyfriend's name is. You're wearing that like a coat. And a psychic can read that information. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with psychics. I have nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with psychic mediums. What I have a problem with is the ones that stand on a friggin' soapbox, because this happened recently. I saw this in one of my students, and they tell you that not everybody can do it. And they tell you that you're not gifted. And they tell you that they're the only ones who can do it. And they tell you everything you know, but they don't give you any new information or tell you things to help you move forward in your life. The reading should be the beginning of the journey, not the end, not the middle. It should be the beginning. So I recently saw this happen again, and the person was questioning the reading because she felt that the person probably looked her up, didn't tell her anything new, and whatever, it doesn't matter. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I want to teach people. I want to teach people that there's so much out there that is so much bigger than us. And that if you lean into it, and you can get all the support that you need in this world. Doesn't mean that everything goes right. It means when that thing goes awry, or that thing goes wrong, or that thing goes left, or the thing goes right, you have somebody there guiding you and helping you. So my podcast is going to be about stories and telling you stories and teaching you through the stories, but most importantly, empowering you to live your best life yet. So I do thank you, Megan. And if anybody's got questions, I'll answer. I do hope that you'll join me. So write podcast, and we're going to let you know when it goes live. It's going to go live in a couple of days. It's just my power was out yesterday, so I didn't get to record the last one. And then I was going to record stuff today, but now I have to go back into Soul Finder Academy and finish up the Q&A because Be Live went dead on me. And that's what I want to tell you. So I can't wait. Like my Brooklyn stories, little men crawling on me. Can't wait to tell you about the hand that came around the wall. I can't wait to tell you about the spirit that was dead behind the bar. I can't wait to tell you about so many things. I have to also go to my journals because I can't remember a lot of the stories. So I need time to do that. So I'm super excited to tell you about everything. All right. So let's see if you have any questions. And I'm glad that I have people here. So Megan's here. Megan's also a medium. And Megan says, I agree. And she likes my overalls. Thank you. Do you know? Okay. So you all know that I live in Marin, right? Do you know I live in Marin County? And I was volunteering at this thing to try to meet people. And I had these really cute overalls on with little flowers on them. I love them. And I walked into the event, and this woman who runs it turned around to me and she said, were you painting today? Like, why do people say things about my clothes? Like, first that psychic about my boots. And then this woman's like, so were you painting today? I'm like, oh, I didn't know I had to wear an evening dress to a little thing here. Was I painting today? What an insult. I don't remember what I said. I think I said, no, I wasn't. And then I went into the bathroom and I went, that was fucked up. Anyway, so I wear overalls. I love my overalls. I don't give a shit what people think. Love you too, Stacy. All right. So let me look, see if you have any questions. But what this is going to be is a celebration for us, something other than, I really don't have anything against Facebook, but it's a celebration for us to talk in another platform. And what's going to be so exciting about it for me personally, because I love podcasts, you're going to be able to download it and listen to it everywhere and anywhere when you want. You can binge. There's going to be 3 or 4 episodes if they don't cut my power off again, where you'll get to binge. And I'm going to try to download a bunch of them at once so that it might be 2 a week, I'll see, so that you can binge listen to them. And then you can tell me what you want to learn. I binge Hallmark Christmas now. Good for you, Elizabeth. Okay, wait. Thanks, Marina. Marina says, I'm sure anything from you will be helpful and great. You should not worry at all. You know what's interesting though, Marina? Because I put up that question, if you gave a speech, what would you give a speech about? It was fascinating to me. Like I did the 3, I recorded 3 of them, and I've done enough performance. I used to perform my own monologues and stuff like that. The first one I wrote out like a story, and I was like, I can't do it that way. I have to just tell stories. And I was feeling a little vulnerable about it because there's going to be people that don't like it. There's nothing I can do about this. People that don't like me here, and there's nothing I can do about it. But there was a little bit of vulnerability with it. But I'm excited more than I'm vulnerable. And it's something I've been wanting to do for so long. So I'm so excited that I'm trusting my own instincts and my own inspiration and spirit, and I'm doing it. And I'm committing to it. A lot of people will do podcasts and they don't commit to it. I'm committing to this because we, as Membership for Your Soul, a lot of members on here, they know we have incredible teachers. We had the best interview last week. We have interviews once a month with the best teachers that come in and teach material in my programs. And those interviews only get seen by people in membership. So I want to start bringing those teachers on to interview them. I want to introduce you to other people, but I want to hear their stories. What really, really makes my members love it is they get to hear how they how they came to their thing in their life. So we want to hear their stories. There's also going to be, there may be a corner. You know how you have little corners, a little shorter podcast. Might be Marilyn's Musings, but there also might be one called The Spiritual Side of Fuck You. That's a really big one for me because I would sit at home and do a really great channel session, meditating, all spiritual and great. And then I'd go to Trader Joe's and someone would take my spot and I'd be like, fuck you. And I was like, oh, that's not real spiritual. But it felt good. It felt really, really good to say that and to do that to that person. So we're going to talk about the spiritual side of fuck you too, because there is a spiritual side to it. Sometimes you just need to say it. So it's going to be all those fun things. All right. So put podcast in, and thank you, Marina, for your support. Let's see who else we got here. Thank you, Barbara. Did I miss any questions? I don't want to get my overalls dirty. I'm sure you'll have a great podcast. I'm super excited. Thank you, Jerry. We'll see what happens. And you know what? Some of it may not be great, and it's going to be like anything you do in life. It's going to be it's going to be learning through trial and error. Already, I was talking to my team, and they're like, "Did you tell them how to subscribe?" I'm like, "No, I keep forgetting to tell them on the podcast how to find me. I'll get better at it." You are just radiating excitement. I know. I'm so excited, Jackie, to do this. I can't wait. Oh my God, I don't understand people. I know, right, Linda? The spiritual side of fuck you. So rude. I can't stand when people are rude like that. I think it's funny because they must be threatened or something. You know, I don't know what it is, but I find it very funny. Should have asked if she was. The reading goes back to the beginning. That's where the boots come in. You're kicking down doors, powerhouse. Perhaps it was an acknowledgement of your skills. Paula, I love that. Thank you so much. The reading goes back to the beginning. That's where the boots come in. You're kicking down doors, powerhouse, powerhouse. You know what's interesting? The same medium that was teaching this class, she did a reading. She does group readings, right? And I went to one of her group readings, and she said to me, she didn't know I was a medium, so I didn't tell her anything. She didn't know anything about me. And she said, you're going to do something that's going to piss off other mediums. You're going to blow the door off of what other mediums believe. You're going to change the formula. You're going to create something that's different. And at that point, I was still acting. I didn't want to be a medium, but I was studying because I had to, because it was making me nuts. And I realized it years later. I was like, oh, yeah, because I'm going against what they teach in these. I think like in these schools, like the Albert Finney School, whatever that English school is, you know, I'm going against a lot of what these mediums teach. And because I think it's antiquated, I think it's old, I think it needs to be broken. I only have a problem with it because I have so many stories to tell you about the rudeness and the competition. And so now I'm pissed off enough that I'm going to start speaking out about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. Do what you want to do. But don't tell me what I'm doing is wrong. Because that's the spiritual side of fuck you. That's where I'm like, fuck you. I'm not wrong. So I cut quiet. I stopped talking to deceased people. And I was really, really, really good at it. But I stopped. I was like, you know what? That's your specialty. Have it. I don't want it. Take it. And then I decided to open that door up again. But my thing is, like, I think there's a lot of great mediums out there. I really do. And I think it's really important to hear sometimes, you know, that your loved one really appreciates that you took care of them at the end of their life. But the deceased loved ones that I know that come through, they're like, okay, now go do A, B, and C. Because you're wasting your time wondering if I'm okay. I'm fine. Now go do it. That's what my deceased loved ones do. Yeah, I am all wound up today because I was doing a 2-hour Q&A in SFA, Soul Finder Academy, and I didn't know for an hour that I wasn't live. I was channeling. So I'm pretty pissed off. Okay, wait. Why do they comment about your clothes? I don't know, Teresa. You know why I think? It's interesting, especially as you mentioned wearing a coat. Thank you. You know why I think it is? Because that was something that was big for me when I was little. My mother was always commenting on my clothes because I was a hippie and she wanted me to be a preppy. And then my father was always like, every time I went to see him, he'd be like, let's go out and buy you clothes. So people always commented about my clothes because I don't care about clothes really. And so I think it's just an old trait from my childhood that they just picked up on in the moment. That's why. Yay, Debbie, I'm glad you're excited. I hope I look, maybe I shouldn't excite you that much. It really is not that good, the first 3 episodes. So I'm just going to tell you that. All right. It's going to get better in time. Thanks, Gia. All right. So put in podcast. We'll let you know all about it. I know, Lily, I have been telling stories all along. Thank you. You know where this came from? I think it was Susan, who everybody knows from Membership for Your Soul. So I go on to Membership for Your Soul and I'll just tell stories at times because something will be happening in my life. And I'll be like, you guys got to hear this. Da, 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 da. And I teach them something and tell them something. And Susan's like, oh my God, you're so funny. Forget about writing a book. just do video. And that's when it kind of like, I wanted to do a podcast about the Hollywood murder, which you're all going to hear about, because I do want to do a special podcast about that. So you're going to hear about 3-4 episodes about Sal Mineo and how I discovered his body and all the stuff that happened. I have to pull out my journals because it's a pretty important story. And I'm hoping to do a whole separate podcast about that. But I want to introduce you to that story because it happened at a space clearing of a restaurant. And so I wanted to write a memoir about that. And I realized, let me do a podcast about that. So it was in my head to do it on that piece, but it's too big. Like that, I would have to pull myself out of my life for 6 months to just focus on it because it overtakes me. He overtakes me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a podcast about stories because I'm constantly going into membership and telling them stories. And when Susan said that to me that time, she was like, please. I was like, you know what? It really does entertain them, and it teaches them. I hate to say my students because we're a community, like everybody a community. I feel like students is too like, even though I'm teaching them, we're all learning from each other. It's really such an incredible experience. So, you are what many of us cannot or not allowed to do. Oh, but Marina, you joined membership. You're going to be doing it. Don't get me started on Trader Joe's. You know what? In Marin, it's different. There's parking. It's not as crowded. And now with COVID, you get the stores to yourself. Tina asked, do I still read? Only in my paid programs. Only in my paid programs. I do group readings. Okay. Street vernacular. I'm ready. Yes. You're going to hear a lot of that. A lot of you don't know I was a barroom brawler when I was a teenager. What does that mean for you innocent ones? Well, I would fight. So there was I usually was fighting the underdog, but there was one girl, I don't know what it was about her, but every time she came into the bar, I would dive on her. I have no idea why. I did not like her. I did not like her energy. I was friends with her boyfriend, but whenever I'd see her and have too much to drink, I would just dive on her and we'd get into fights. I feel so bad for the girl because I didn't do that to a lot of people. Normally I got into fist fights because somebody was treating somebody poorly and I didn't like it. But she was the one person. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, I have a little street in me, unfortunately. We have ESP. We'll find you. That's hilarious. Thanks, Paula. All right. So thank you, Jacqueline. So I really want to share this with all of you because I love this, Lorelei. So I got to talk about this a little bit more, and then so if anybody has questions to me, let me know, and then I'm going to go back to SFA. So SFA people, I'm going to come back to you. Very grateful to share your views about mediumship. So many of us have listened to the mediumship rules that just aren't true. You go. So Stacy's on here, and Stacy has given me permission to share her stories. Stacy's in SFA. Stacy's a healer. Stacy's a medium. Stacy's really, really magical. And Stacy and I were having a private session because she got coaching with SFA. And we were talking, and I was like, she was boxing up her gifts. So she was boxing up her mediumship, and then she had her healing. And I was like, why are you boxing it up? What's going on? I don't understand this. And I don't remember what transpired between us. I just remember what happened at the end of it. And I realized that she was sitting in the rooms of these very gifted teachers. So we don't want to say anything bad about them because there is a way to learn that way. It's a beautiful way to sit in circle, invite spirits in, and learn how to read and just speak to deceased loved ones. But Stacy was learning that was only mediumship. That was what mediumship was. And I was like, Stacy, that's not true. Mediumship is, you could be channeling a beautiful energy out in the universe through your body. It's channeling what maybe some people know as channeling, but you're a medium between this world and the world you're in, the person you're helping. You are the medium. I actually wrote it in my, if I could find it, I wrote it in my memoir, what a medium is, and I can see if I can try to find it. But anyway, and I said, so don't box it up because these are all your gifts. You need to use them all at once. And she got it. She understood what I was saying, and she realized that she was doing that she was just kind of boxing everything up so she wasn't blending everything together. And I told her, like, this is an issue that I have, that when you're taught that if you're telling someone about their future, you're not being a medium, that's not true for me. Now, it may be true for them, and really it's okay, but because they've pissed me off so much, I'm going to attack them a little bit. So it's really, really fine. So I'm actually pulling up my memoir. Well, I can't find it right now, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to talk about all of this because if I can open a door to expansion for you, because Stacy, like that was great for her. It gave her, and she's still studying in those rooms. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But then she also like is just expanding now in her growth with other things as well, because I teach that imagination is important. And so many of them will say, I remember being, definitely not going to say this medium's name because I'm not even going to say if it was a guy or a girl, but the person was an ass, complete ass, nasty to everyone. People left that conference going, I'm going to have to give up my job. I'm going to have to give up doing readings because they felt like crap. And this person made people feel really, really bad about it. Really bad. And I was like, one woman got up there. I wouldn't get up with him. Oops. Okay. It was a him. I wouldn't get up with him because I knew like this guy's an asshole. And this one woman got up and she was reading me. A deceased one came through and she's like, I see a waterfall. And she'd be like talking about, and he's like, yeah, well, what about the waterfall? What's the water? What is that? That's got nothing. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it had something to do with the person who was coming through for me. I have about 3 ex-boyfriends in spirit. I did not kill them. I wanted to, but I didn't do it. And they're all over there. One took my bra off. You'll have to hear that story too. But anyway, and he cut her off. He didn't like teach her like, okay, so why is he coming forward with the waterfall? What does the waterfall mean to you? What is the waterfall about? You're going to learn about the symbolic language of your soul. And I felt really bad for her because it did mean something to me. So in the beginning, I kind of taught a little bit fluffy. I let people get away with a little bit of fluffiness. Now I'm a little bit more specific where I'm like, okay, if you get a waterfall, what does the waterfall mean to you? What are they trying to tell you about the waterfall? What do they want you to know about the waterfall? There's specific things so that you could communicate that message through. So I teach people to use their imagination, where a lot of people would get up in these rooms going, I don't know if it's my imagination or not. And my guides are like, that's where we're hanging out, peeps. We're over here in the imagination. Come here. And when you go into your imagination, which Stacy just left me a message, and she's like, oh my goodness. And she's been studying me for a while. That's another thing, peeps. You've been studying me for a while. I'm like, when sometimes I'm here, I'm like, what's going on? She was like, it just opened up everything for her. Opened up everything. So definitely type podcast so you can learn all about it. And I keep going to Marina, man. Marina, you're the popular one today. What if you don't let anything get to you? Just let it go. When you answer, you give best of you, right? Yeah, no, I don't. I think when you do storytelling, you have to have an opinion, right? So you're going to hear an opinion pretty much in this podcast at certain points, because I know as a writer and I know as a storyteller, you kind of have to have a point of view, right? Especially if I'm being a first person storyteller. But for the most part, these things don't bother me anymore. But it is my soapbox. I'm going to be opinionated about this, especially if it's going to help open people up. Now, some people may hear, I know certain students that were studying with me, this did not resonate with them and they had to leave and go to the antiquated mediums. Okay, maybe they felt they were really good mediums, so it didn't matter. But to me, they're the antiquated mediums. I really don't care what people think, honestly. Even if people are going to listen to my podcast and they'd be like, she put me to sleep. You can't allow that stuff to affect you. If I allow that stuff to affect me, I would never do this, right? I would never come on and do a live. You should see I haven't even seen my ads. I used to go to my ads. I have a very popular ad out there that helps you to find a guide. And people attack me on that ad, especially the Christians, because I'm not Christian apparently. I don't know. I like Jesus. I have Jesus all around. But anyway, they attack me. And it used to really get to me. Now I don't care. Everybody's got the right to their opinion. I don't really give a shit. Be respectful. I'm going to delete and block you because I can. Some people leave the comments up. I'm not going to leave your comment up. I'm paying for that ad. Why am I going to leave your fucking comment up? So you're going to hear those opinions. When I teach, I do my best to bring that down a tiny bit so that people can come into an arena and really bring their best self forward. I do kick a little butt when I teach people because I won't let people stay stuck. But I do want people to discover their own guidance system. Okay. I have a lot of my members on here, so they know how I teach. Maybe there's a cat in the best life. Love your scrappy side. Yeah, I'm really excited to bring this out in this format. Oh, I love this, Megan. Oh my goodness. I worked in a bookstore once. I was so mad at a metaphysical shop that tried to make me bundle tarot or mediumship separately. I was just starting in LA before I went solo. It was so frustrating. I know. But Megan, we're going to blow the doors off of this story, aren't we? We're going to blow Sue Kovacs, who studied under me, who studied under a lot of people. Sue is very, very great. Megan's great. These are people I recommend. And Sue Kovacs calls herself, we're in the 21st century, right? 21st century medium. I love it. Love it. She coined that phrase, not me. I wanted it. Okay. Embrace the imagination. Stacy, my lovely Stacy, who let me share that story. 2 words, asshole, delete. Hey, I'm liking this live. We're all getting real with each other. This is fun. Hi, Scott. Okay. Thank you, Tracy. You're a progressive Christian. I think it's so funny. We'll have whole Bible conversations. A girl was dating 2 boys. I think she wanted a fun reading. What came through was self-care and staying in charge of the situation rather than them. Don't think that's what she wanted to hear, but I believe it was what they wanted to convey. Hopefully it resonates. I didn't want to go otherwise. So one of the greatest things, what do you do in those cases? You have to be honest, and you have to be, so the first party I ever did, I made someone cry. And the person who hired me came over and started yelling at me because I made someone cry, but I told her the truth. And it was the first party, and he was my neighbor. He was a really nice guy. And he's like, this is entertainment. And I'm like, I don't know how to be any other way. And I'll tell you something, Roseanne, I did only a few parties, but there were usually lines. And I'm not like, I'm a really good reader. There were lines to get to me. And, after that first party, I went home and I was like, oh my God, because it was one of those questions. She had a boyfriend or something. And I told her the truth. I told her what I was hearing. For those of you just joining for podcast in, you're going to learn about my podcast and you're going to get to hear my trailer. I just had to tell her the truth. So I went home and I was like, oh my God, it was one of those moments where I was like, what did I do? I can't do this. I was so embarrassed. We lived in the same apartment complex. I think he said something to me the day after. This is why, thank God, I have everything journaled, because I have to read my journals because I don't remember this stuff. But I remember him sitting me down in the living room, his living room, going, you can't do that at parties, you know? And I made a conscious choice to be me. So what I would do in parties is ask my guides to just take it down a notch with my languaging. So I would just go in and do that way. So that's it. Okay. I think this is the best I've ever attended. So you're going to love the podcast. Brooklyn is in the tonight. Exactly. All right. So put podcast in, because you subscribing and sharing is going to help me a lot. And, it'll be helpful too, to also hear, we'll share a website and everything. And I think we should share an email. I don't know if we're going to have comments underneath. I'll find out, but we'll find out what you want to learn, what you want to know. But I can tell you the first 10 podcasts are probably going to be a lot of story before I bring people on and stuff like that. Just because I have so many stories. Wait till you hear about the eggs. There's going to be a story about eggs, and they're really important. All right. So I think that's it. Is there anything? Did I miss anything? Thank you. I made a girl cry from relief at a bachelorette party about her fertility. It got confirmed the next year. I love that. I've had people come to me, and Megan knows this because she's a reader, I remember one girl sitting in the chair across from me, and I don't remember readings a lot of the time. So luckily I have some of those recorded. Well, I have everything recorded readings wise, but I wouldn't go back to them and use them. But she was sitting across from me, and she had a big engagement ring on, and she was getting married in like 2 weeks. And she's like, should I marry my fiance? First of all, if you're asking me, red flag, just saying, red flag. But I was like, so I take everything from my guides. My guides are talking to your guides. I'm not allowed to get in the way. I'm not allowed. If a story comes through, it's because they want me to tell you a story in a reading. If an opinion comes through, it'll usually be, I think. If I say I think, I'll usually say that's my opinion. I have to take it out. So I said to her, no, you're not supposed to marry him. You can't marry him. And I believe she ended it. She ended it, if I recall, because I believe she came back to me and ended it. And that was a really big thing. So I can only deal in truth. I didn't do a lot of parties for that particular reason, because I'm not entertainment. I was really honest. And the parties I did do were really actually very good. They were great parties. I was very picky about the parties I would do. And then I just started charging like a lot of money for them if they wanted me. So, because I didn't want to do them anymore. They're exhausting, man. Right, Megan? Like you're doing, and Roseanne, you just did that thing. Like you've got all these different people coming in. It's exhausting. So all right. Come and you're going to hear about when you can subscribe. I'd love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share and just be kind to me. The first 3 episodes, I'm like pulling it together. And but I guarantee it'll get better and better and better. So I'm going to go because I have to jump back into Soul Finder Academy. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, thank you, Roseanne. Yeah. The producer I ended up hiring, I had somebody, and she said, you got to promise me you're going to commit to this because it takes a while. And I was like, yeah, I'm committed because this is fun for me. Yeah, the spiritual side of fuck you definitely came to me. Okay, great. All right, good. So thank you guys. Definitely put in podcasts and you'll get a little messenger. And then the thing that's really going to be really important to me is that you learn how to, you learn some things from me, some skills, some techniques, some tools, what things mean. 2, I get to share my stories. And 3, you get to be yourself. That's the goal of all of this for me. As my students know, in Membership for Your Soul and Soul Finder Academy, I'm very much about them being the light that they are, and not. When I teach definitely formulas and techniques and tools to get to the symbols, break down things, break down tarot, learn clairaudience, clairvoyance. But I always teach that you are the instrument. So you have to learn how to use this instrument in order to do all this work and to communicate with your guides and stuff. So there's going to be so much that I'm going to share in it that is going to help to, I hope, my goal is to motivate you into and motivate and catapult you into the life that's worth living and the life that you want to live. So that is it. Happy Halloween. So I will see you put podcast in. You'll get my trailer. You get to hear my trailer. And we will let you know when it's dropping. It's probably dropping on Friday. So we will let you know, and we will give you the information so you can subscribe and listen. Thank you so much, guys. I will talk to you soon. And you can share this live if you enjoyed it, especially my views about what a medium is. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.